Hello everyone, BlakouttheMM here. I have Blanktester and Yellow with me. Say hello.
Hello. I'm glad I get my real name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I never know the. I'm so used to being on Connor's videos where
And
he
Steel Donut and stuff, yeah.
It's such a mix, yeah. But yeah, what a great opening to such a great game.
I mean, we're all professionals here.
Oh, absolutely. Feel free to talk over this cutscene because I have to mute the video for copyright.
Oh, well.
Dang.
You know, so this
That's
is...
why I have captions on.
assume this is, like, taken from the movie, or is this... Or I'm trying to talk so that it masks it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is as you heard from that incredibly loud THX stinger, this
this is from the movie. I recognize
it's a bunch of DVD footage. Ian McKellen actually recorded a bunch of voiceovers.
Oh, okay.
Specifically for the game. There's over 100 of these scenes in the game.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And they range anywhere from like 2 to 5 minutes. So.
Jesus.
Crap.
Well,
And mostly it's just like here it's just giving you the plot of the movies. If you somehow picked up the game but never saw the movies or read any of the Lord
I
of the
hear
Rings books.
something about this Lord of the Rings, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna see what that's all about.
Something about one ring to rule the rest of them? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But no, the
How can
THX
jewelry
thing.
rule anything?
Even other jewelry, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But this is a fun game. The funny thing about the THX certification, for those who don't know, all it is just a quality assurance that the audio is high fidelity.
Oh, okay.
They don't require you to use any specific
Equipment.
like codec or anything. I mean, there is THX certified equipment, but you don't need to use that to get the certification. Basically, just means someone from THX looked at the audio and was like, "Yep, this is
nice.
good, high quality audio." Put our name on this. And essentially, what it also means is that it was produced like a music album because all the sound in this game is like on the edge of clipping. When I looked at the waveform when I was editing it, it was just one solid bar.
Yeah.
You know,
For the whole game.
one thing about this intro scene, by the way, that always kind of bothered me, is that the armor on those gauntlets was absolute garbage, because look at how easily those fingers get cut off.
Yeah.
Like, what
I
the
mean,
hell?
he's like literally a wizard. Well, not a wizard, but like he's using dark magic. You would think that the dark magic would protect him, but
No, his fingers get cut off real easily.
then again, there may be some kind of explanation for it in lore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm much more confused, or if you didn't read the book, it would be what happens with the Witch King is super confusing in the movie. It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll.
I mean, I'll immediately right off the bat say I've never read any of the books. So
Really?
nope.
No.
Oh
I
man.
barely read books.
Oh.
I love reading books.
I
The most-
read.
The thing I read
those
most
books
these days
over and
are scientific papers.
Yeah, that's fair.
You see, you're trying to one up everyone else. Someone's like, I'm smart because I read books. I'm even smarter because I read scientific documents.
I read scientific articles about chemistry.
I'm even smarter because I don't read at all.
Oh, see, that's the real
I
power
have.
move.
Yeah, I have nothing to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
In this age, the evil
Nice.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, this game, I'm playing through it on hard, which is... I didn't double check. I don't think it changes the AI at all. I think it just makes everyone do more damage.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't really matter because I didn't, min-max, bust out the calculator and figure out the exact perfect
Optimal. Yeah.
thing. But I did figure out a strategy that is better than any of the other ones I've seen anyone else talk about.
Join us in
You know,
You'll see it, and I just want to say real quick, you'll see in the description, I always say I never use guides, and that's true, I don't, especially for a strategy-based game, what's the point if you're just using somebody else's strategy? I try to always play it on my own. And so I did go and read guides after I beat the game on hard, and everybody else's strategy was way less effective. And I'll explain more as we, proceed through the game. But
Can I just say, having seen Lord of the Rings several times, Elijah Wood's, like, my first exposure to Elijah Wood was in Lord of the Rings, and after that, I can't look at him in any role without thinking he looks, like, oddly proportioned.
yeah, I know.
Like, it's like, is he too big? No, that's because he's a normal human, he's not a hobbit.
Well, you'll notice we're in regular cutscenes now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
nice transition. Nice battle transition. I like it.
Oh, this game has some pretty cool battle transitions. This is a very good-looking game for the time.
When did this game come out?
2004.
Oh yeah, that does look pretty good. Oh, you goofus!
Oh no.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite RPG tropes, is scripted death in the first battle.
Yeah.
But we're going to get our first signs of jank here in this cutscene.
Oh, good.
Return to the shadow, slave of Sauron.
Whoa.
So,
Oh.
that line I'm 90% sure, but the line she's going to say towards the end of this cutscene, is just a line from the movie.
Oh.
But she's not a character from the movie.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in this game, where characters say lines from the movie that were said by other characters in the movie. Yeah, those.
Let it pass to him. Let him be spared. To you I bestow this gift of my people.
That's what she said to Frodo when she was saving him,
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of...
So why is she just saying it?
Of your bravery, my lady. What favor might I grant you?
There is no time. Hurry.
Okay.
We must find
I don't know,
your
yeah.
your wounds.
It's weird when games that are set in the same universe as movies...
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Well, and the
they just
reason
use
why-
dialogue like that to, like, make
Yeah.
you go, oh, I remember that dialogue.
Yeah.
And then, see, right off the bat, we get two of these scenes.
Oh wow.
But at least we got a battle in between.
Oh, battle, he says.
So, yeah, I mean, and like I said, this is pretty much just all stuff. What it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be Gandalf, like, sending telepathic messages to Barethor, who's his friend?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause he's talking directly to Barethor right now.
Huh.
Now I wonder, does that mean Barethor sees this?
It's... Yeah, maybe, but, like, no, probably not, since this is stuff Gandalf hasn't seen. But, like, I think it would be very weird to have somebody sending cryptic messages into your mind.
Is one of the elves
Yeah.
of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
They are a departing race.
Like, shouts to actually all the voice acting in this game. It's awesome that Ian McKellen did all this extra voice acting, because there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
But outside of Idril, the voice acting is I think, actually pretty solid.
Oh, okay.
Underestimate them. Many
Unfortunately, the dialogue is usually kind of suspect, but
ability far beyond that of mortal men.
Well, acting's fine, dialogue questionable.
One
Got
of
it.
their kind has smiled upon you.
Wow.
You got an elf to like you. Good job.
yeah, now
Like
we'll actually get
Elves
literally,
are
that's what he
pretty.
said. Elves are pretty and they do things
like you,
well.
dude.
Good job.
Yeah, so I figured out the trick to beating this one hard. Is, you do have to power game it a little bit. It tells you this in the manual, so this isn't a spoiler, and you can see the empty slots there. You're going to get 6 party members over the course of the game. 3 of them are just way better than the other 3.
Oh, okay.
And so I just never use the other 3. Never ever. I get them and I never ever use them.
Just use the good party members and you win.
Yeah.
So what's the combat system here? Is there...
It is actually lifted almost directly from Final Fantasy X.
Oh, okay.
Like, almost directly. This is not just published by EA, it's developed by EA. I believe EA
Oh, okay.
Montreal, and this was the first RPG that Electronic Arts actually developed themselves.
Huh.
Hence why they decided
They
to,
cribbed
you know,
from. Yeah.
yeah, to just, you know,
To just look
create
at
95% of the battle system from
Yeah,
Final Fantasy.
yeah, just look at Square Enix and be like, what did they do?
But you see here, the thing with this game, it's not a bad game, actually, and especially in the later levels, it does... You can't just, you know, dummy your way through it. But early on, it is a little bit... Actually, on hard mode, it's not on the easy side, because it takes a little while for the curve to line up. Because since all it does is boost the damage, here early on, you don't have any, like, tactical options.
Right, you can just attack, and that's about it.
Exactly, and so the fact that they do more damage makes them very overpowered for the first half of this first section, but eventually you start to scale up.
Oh.
Yeah, the arrows actually remain in the model. It's pretty gruesome looking.
Oh, dang,
see 'em?
so he
They're
just
just
has
sticking
it.
out
Oh
of
yeah, you're right.
And it disappears eventually, but especially if multiple bow users fire, you can get up to 3 arrows just sticking out of the model.
That
I like
line
the-
of the ding dong.
I like the little shuffle he does when he walks back to his spot.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Like,
combat...
at least he jumps back, but he just turns around and walks.
He's like, okay, I have to go. Bye. Mom
Yeah,
says
and the
I have to be home by dinner.
Yeah, and the combat animations in this game, I don't expect, you know, you to go out and, you know, take a bunch of historical fencing classes and become
Yeah,
a master
sure.
swordsman. But a lot of the attacks in this game look just silly. Like, there's so many, especially for the dwarven character, a lot of the attacks are swinging upwards. And not in a, like, a... there are, like, attacks with swords that involve swinging upwards, but it's usually across the body. Like, imagine if you were holding something in your right hand, in front of your left shoulder, and you swing it up across your body.
Patience.
But a lot of these, it's like they have their arm twisted around.
But I do see orcs ahead.
Like, you'll see it when he does his Guardian Strike or his Orc Bane. It's the most unnatural motion ever.
Oh, sheesh, y'all.
Still a big fan of that battle transition. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they change for every area, too.
Oh, that's
Alright,
cool.
now watch this, watch this.
What?
Yeah, that doesn't.
What do you
It's such an unnatural motion.
like? You can't put force behind your swing like that.
Yeah, it completely...
It really
Rex Zero.
gets like hamstrung. The attack
Yeah.
gets really hamstrung by also being in slow mo.
Yeah.
Like if it was fast, at least you wouldn't necessarily notice immediately.
No.
But
And I
like,
mean, even like these guys are okay, but like the bow user you get, he fires all of his arrows incorrectly.
oh,
Like he holds the bow sideways, okay, and then he fires the arrow, and the arrow's underneath the bow,
okay.
with the arrow shooting across, like like the underside of the bow. So in other words, it should just flop down.
Yeah, at least their orc archers here are you know the arrow is on top of the bow.
The way it's supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like that. I didn't even know how you messed that up, but
Yeah,
Oh, well.
it leans on the bow so that it doesn't flop down.
yeah.
So when you
Or
okay, so when
otherwise you hold it vertical and you lean it on your hand, like on your finger, I believe. I'm not an archer, I don't know.
are
Yeah, on the
those
base,
all
yeah.
different damage types on the right there?
Yeah, like different resistances.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Usually, you'll see though, because of the ingenious strategy that I employ once, you know, I get to it, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, good.
And also, the saving takes forever, so I just crossfade it. I must have cut like a good 30 minutes out of the game by removing all those
The elves
saves.
are very resourceful.
Dang, that's a
Long have
lot.
we kept such way stations for times of great need.
I am better.
Is this played on original
Captain of the
hardware or
Citadel
is
Guard
this
of Gondor.
on emulator?
Diamidriel.
Emulator, but I do own a PS2 and a physical copy of the game, so
Take
Nice.
what you need.
can't get me now, Sony.
On our way.
Well, I mean,
Ah.
they still can.
I mean, they could, but
Well, no, isn't it like as long as you own everything, you can play it on your
I don't
computer?
know.
That everywhere I've ever read,
that's always been my understanding, actually.
If you look in the documentation for any emulator, it says it's perfectly legal as long as you supply the BIOS pulled from your own console. Which that's why I just ripped it and put it in. So
Okay.
here we go. But all right, so you have skill trees here, and the way you learn skills in this game is the more skills you learn in a tree. Or the more time you use skills in the tree, it'll put points towards unlocking the next one.
Okay.
And so,
So it's kind
because
of
of that,
like whatever you're using is what's going to get increased, and
yeah.
Okay.
Because of that, Idril's sword attacks are completely useless.
I see.
You can look at her skill tree. You can look at the skill trees and actually see all the skills and their description, so you know what to work for.
That is nice. It's there's also games where it's like, ooh, mystery nodes, and you're like, yeah, great. I'd like to know where I'm going.
Yeah, so I can. Oh, look at that running! Look at that.
That looked weird.
Like, did you see her moving between several planes of existence?
I think some of the combat animations have looked really decent, and some of them look really janky. But like the walking around outside of combat looks a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, they sort of glide.
Yeah.
That and also like Barathor looks like he's really struggling to run.
I read a review where someone said that too, and it's just like, yeah, it's like they don't move the same. They don't move like the correct distance for how large their steps are.
Yeah, like Barathor to me looked like he was like he had like some kind of like bands holding his arms and legs back, and he's trying to run, pulling a great weight.
Yeah, I think it's because everyone has. I think everyone has like a universal walk speed. So, but everyone's also a different size.
All the animations are different. Yeah, she looks a little bit awkward, but not that awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, hers is a lot more natural looking.
That's a decent enough walk cycle, I think. Like walking animation.
It's really the arms that kind of throw it for me, because her arms are kind of way out to the sides.
Yeah. Now, what is cool about this game, and this was definitely some big effort from them, it has true paper dolling.
What do you mean?
As in every single piece of armor, every single weapon, everything you can equip is physically modeled.
Oh, that's nice.
And, like that's become, more common these days, but in the PS2 era, remember when Evergrace, one of the launch titles, was blowing everyone's minds for having that?
Man, I never played Evergrace.
It's flawed, but it is a very interesting game. I think it gets overlooked a lot, unfairly.
I barely owned a PS2, by which I say we kind of owned a PS2, but only for a short while.
Clarify at all. Well, what do you mean by you kind of owned a PS2?
Well, okay, we owned a PS2. I just had very few games for it, so yeah. So I don't really see it as something that I've had.
I owned a PS1, but only played. Well, I only had, I think, 2 or maybe even 1 game for it, and then I played like 2 other games on it, and that was it.
I like that Barathor's shield only sometimes exists.
Oh, there's another line from the movie. Oh, yeah.
I love
that's because.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's weird because it does for all of the cutscenes. I think it just removed it there because he was swinging the sword with both hands, but it does model all of the stuff you have in cutscenes too.
Yeah.
Because they're not like video. They're not FMV. It's actual just rendered cutscenes.
Yeah, it's just in engine.
Yeah. So here we go. Skill trees. You say everyone comes with 2. Barathor has Swordcraft and Leadership, which are just buffs. And Idril has Swordcraft, which again is useless, and Spellcraft. And I remember, I've seen some people say, that she can be useful with her sword skills because it's kind of an invisible system, but you can very easily intuit it. Different moves will have different speeds, let's say. So like Loudwater Fury, that super powerful spell attack she has, is a slow move. So it'll take longer for her to get another turn in the queue.
Oh, okay.
All of her sword moves are fast moves, so
So you
if
can
you ever
deal
use
a lot of, well, a decent amount of damage.
You can at least do more moves within the same.
Yeah.
You get like better turn economy, basically.
Yeah, the problem is that her sword attacks deal hardly any damage, and she tends to miss all the time. Whereas Loudwater Fury, there's
Oh, shit.
there are hardly Again, these early fights on hard mode are ridiculous, but it'll get out of the danger zone eventually. But yeah, so her sword attacks, the thing is just, they do so little damage compared to everything else. I don't care if they're fast. Loudwater Fury, there's hardly any enemies in the game with water resistance. There's only really one, I think. It never misses. It hits at any range. And it does crazy damage.
It's pretty weird that she gets to summon a water horse so frequently. Like, that was the thing that happened once in any of the movies.
Well, she does learn the water horse move as like her final spell.
I mean, that's what Loudwater Fury is, isn't it?
No, it's just a blast of water. Just a big tube of water.
Isn't it in the shape of a horse?
In the cutscene, she did use the water stallion spell.
Oh.
And she won't get to use it again until the end of the game because it's her final spell skill. It's a cutscene privilege spell. But like now, if in the next fight you'll see her shoot a Loudwater Fury, it's just a blast of water.
Oh. He did Fell Slash, which involved punching with his shield.
Yeah, I know. It's really dumb.
Yeah. Man, Barathor hanging on by the skin of his teeth here.
Yeah. Enjoy watching her sword attacks now, because you will not see them later on.
Later on, she will only cast spells.
Yeah, because there's really no point. Now, with Barathor, it is worth, the only real grinding, it's not even really grinding I had to do in this game, was probably about 40 minutes worth. I was later on in the game, I just went back to an early area like this, and just spam skills on weak enemies.
What do you mean by that?
It is nothing. Hasten to Rivendell. I have cleared the road for you.
I am grateful. But
Who
you
is
must
this?
go now to the passes.
She's just a random elf, but despite being like thousands of years old and wise, she just stuck her foot down her mouth.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, you found him," and he's like, "What do you mean by that?" And Idril's like, "What do you mean? Nothing."
I mean, listen, just because you've lived a while doesn't mean you became smart.
With every
Yeah.
elf that
You just had more
sails
time to
across
become
the
stupid.
sea,
Exactly.
diminished.
Honestly, that's
Man,
my biggest issue with
that's-
elves. They
that's
live
so
forever
true.
and they're all dumb.
Yeah.
Of the Lord
Being older just means you've had more time to become
those you
stupid.
met are all
Yeah.
That's one of the things. When I'm old and stupid, will come back to haunt me.
they make for the harbor,
It haunts us all.
Grey Havens.
Eventually.
I'm stupider than I was 2 years ago. I'm stupider than I was 5 years ago.
Honestly,
I'm
the
stupid
only
that
time
I-
you're ever smart is when you're a newborn.
When I was fresh out of the womb, I was brilliant. I
Yeah, my
couldn't
favorite
speak, but I
document-
was brilliant.
Yeah, my favorite documentary, Baby Geniuses,
Yeah.
because it's literally what
That's
it's
what
about.
the plot of Boss Babies is about, too.
See fire and peer deep into the
Wait,
soul.
no, that is literally what the plot of Baby Geniuses is. Shit.
Yeah, it is. That like once you start, you like pass like age
Mr.
2, and all of a
Baby.
sudden you lose your mystical knowledge of the universe.
Stop being.
Also, yeah, I just noticed just now that was 5 out of 109.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian McKellen put in work.
Oh, there it
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
well,
nice
because
new
I had to
coat.
run back to save. Whenever you save, it fully restores your health and magic points, and you saw I was nearly dead. So rather than rather than having you watch me walk back there, save, and walk all the way back here, I just crossfaded.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh no.
Wild men.
Wait.
Anemones.
What? Enemies?
Yeah, so he
Everybody's
starts
all
with two.
hyped up. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. He starts with 2 buffs. Company Might, which just boosts all kinds of damage,
Oh yeah, that is.
like all types. Magic, melee, doesn't matter.
Nice.
And then he has
General
Company
attack.
Valor, which increases odds of it says increases odds of group hits and enemy misses, but that's not entirely true. All it boosts is dexterity, not speed. So it actually doesn't increase your chance of dodge, but it does increase your chance of hitting.
So I saw this dude just did an attack and got a double critical.
Yeah, it goes up to triple critical.
Jeez.
Dang. What's the
Yeah,
modifier on that?
Yeah.
And I believe it's I think it just like you have if you do 1,000 damage, critical is 2,000, double critical is 3,000, triple critical is 4,000.
Dang, that's quite the modifier.
Yeah. Yeah, so like later on if you get a triple critical, your 10,000 attack is 40,000.
Yikes.
And there are he will learn leadership skills that like guarantee a crit.
Nice.
So,
I see a strat emerging in my brain.
yeah.
Don't know if
course,
it's good,
once-
but it emerges.
Yeah. Now, once you see the strat that I've employed, I really am bragging about it. But I only do that because it was so weird to read the guides after the fact and not see people advocating immediately for what I did, which just I can explain why it is objectively superior, but I don't want to spoil it.
So it said 1 out of 3 warbands defeated. Is that your goal, or is that like a side objective?
Yeah, you'll get little side quests, but they're only kind of side quests because the game is so linear, it's kind of hard not to do them unless you just don't go everywhere, but there's so few places to go anyway.
Oh,
Like,
a
like you
Whitebeard.
admit... Yeah, and now the names up there where it says hint are color-coded.
Uh-huh.
Blue are the weaker classes of enemies, orange, and then red, and then I think purple.
So enemies have rarities,
So
basically.
to speak, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Dunland Slash. Wild Pierce.
which was a slice. Good job. That's why it missed, you dumbass.
Well, he's using an adze, isn't he? Or a pickaxe?
Yeah, it's like a big pick.
Okay, yeah, then it is a pierce, I guess.
I love
But
his
that's-
running, like his animation for running towards you is great.
Yeah, but that's also not a slash. That is absolutely a thrust that Whitebeard is doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. I still think this one looks... when you see Hadhod's, not only does he do that stupid upward swing, but he also jumps when he does it.
Ah,
Oh.
And-
Jesus.
Oh, wow, she just...
Yeah, when they get
Deleted
the way they clutch at their throat as they fall.
And then she disintegrated him.
Yeah.
just disappeared.
That was a strike.
No. And the fun thing about Idril, so you only want to use her magic. You never want to use her sword attacks, except for here where I might as well
Yeah.
until she gets the magic points. Just put all of your points when she levels up. Just put them all into spirit and speed. You don't need to worry about any of the other stats.
Just make her the fastest wizard alive.
Yeah, because like in her constitution, you want to throw a little bit there every now and again, but she gets the best armor in the game, and she gets it early on. So she just throughout the whole game takes less damage than anyone else. So she doesn't need a big health bar.
Nice.
Why do you
And-
think they did that?
I have no idea. She's broken. She's 1,000 times better than any other character. If I could have 3 Idrils, I wouldn't. I would actually have 2 because Hadhod is important. And you know what? I mean, the team I'm using are these 2, Barathor, Idril, and then when we get the dwarf, which will actually be shortly. Well, I say shortly, I mean like it's at the end. Yeah,
Dwarf,
exactly.
ha 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 ha.
Yeah, it's at the end of this area. But those are the 3 I use, and I don't use anyone else because they have a great synergistic combo.
Combo strats. I love combo strats.
Yeah.
I love the sounds of these guys showing up. Like
I'm an angry man.
I can just
Yeah,
imagine what it was like in studio recording that day. They were like, all right,
All the
now
barks,
the
yeah.
battle's about to begin. You what do you? I just need you to make some noises to indicate that the battle's begun.
Yeah,
You're the
yeah,
bad
like a
guys.
battle cry.
All right,
Perfect.
Yeah, that'll do. Whatever. Fuck it.
Do you know what those are? Those are called actually, like the industry term, for like just the random sounds like characters make, especially when they just walk around, bump into stuff, that sort of thing.
What?
They're called barks.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I've heard the term barks for like when an enemy wants to indicate information to the player.
No, but it can also just refer to like just the noises like the character, such as the player character makes. That's why it's funny, in Twilight Princess that Link turns into a dog, because he only ever speaks in barks. He never actually
He
says
never
a word.
speaks when in human form. One thing that really messed me up in Skyward Sword was there was one cutscene where Link did talk. You didn't see his dialogue or anything, but you saw him like make motions as if he was speaking, and I was just like, "Whoa,
What?
that looks so weird." Literally like one cutscene at the beginning of the game where he explains something to a dude, and you see him do like talking animations, and you're just like,
I mean, it makes more sense than him just being mute the entire time. I mean,
yeah.
it's
I
sort of like
guess,
the
but
Half-Life thing where like you'll see threads where people are like, "Oh, is Gordon Freeman, mute?" It's like, no, don't you hear like the pauses where it's clear he's supposed to be saying something?
Yeah,
It's
it's just that's you.
They just didn't. Yeah,
you need that's your dialogue. You're talking.
It's your chance to roleplay. Just say something.
Just be like, "Hey, this happened," and then it's like, "Oh, I see."
No.
I
Yeah,
prefer to
but-
think of Gordon Freeman as completely silent.
And people just read his mind.
Yeah, and not only do people just read his mind, but like nobody thinks it's weird or asks questions about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like that interpretation.
They walk up to him and they say like, "Hey, Gordon, how's it going?"
You
So
defeated
there's-
all
And
the
then they
war
look
bands,
at
here's
him
a
and he
level.
just kind of like looks at them and he goes, "All right."
But no, you have no idea how great it is for Israel to be able to ignore, the majority of the stats. Because
Yeah.
putting points in the spirit, not only does that increase spirit damage and defense, but also your action points.
Oh, so it's wow. That's a lot in one stat.
Yeah, that's why that's all she needs. That and speed, and throw a little bit into Constitution every now and again.
Yeah.
Everyone else has to stay a lot more balanced, So running back to save and then coming back.
All the way back to save.
So there's no like closer save point?
There actually is one in this next area, but I would have to go through a few fights to get to it. So, and I was on the brink of death.
Ooh, the eye.
Yeah, that's the random encounter eye. There's a blue palantir that appears to indicate scripted fights.
Oh.
But you'll already see we've already sort of crossed the threshold. Because watch this.
Nice.
Ooh.
One hit.
Holy
Unless
shit,
you think-
yeah.
Yeah. And now that did like 300 some damage, right? Or 400 some? And that did 270 on a crit. So that gives you an idea of how
dang.
powerful Loudwater Fury is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
Yeah, it's her bread and butter throughout the entire game. And sadly, I did not use the ability she recently learned as much as I should have. Haste to the Elves, which just gives like it's insane. It's like temporary boosts the speed of an ally, but when it says boost the speed, it's like idiotic. Like they'll sometimes just get 3 turns in a row in the queue.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Like
so
it makes them. It
so
gives them like a 300 in speed. It's insane.
So it's like Final Fantasy Haste, but on steroids.
Exactly, and unfortunately, I don't use it like I should. I feel kind of bad about that, but I mean, again, like I said, it's not a full min-max, but it's close enough.
I mean, you winned, didn't you?
Yeah,
So it don't matter.
yeah. And I mean, like, I remember reading, like, people were like, oh yeah, it'll take you about 40, 50 hours. I'm like, 40 to 50 hours? I beat it in 22 hours on hard. That's because I didn't have to grind.
Yeah, I love haste-like moves in games that just give you an edge in turn order and stuff like that. I really like.
That's sweet double crit. Yeah, that's why I wish I had used it more. Like towards the end of the game, you'll see me use it, and also another move she learns that just gives an ally the next turn.
Oh.
Nice.
Which means that you can have someone use like their most powerful move that like makes it to where they'll never get a move again for a million turns, but then they can just get another move again.
Yeah, she can just be like, okay, no, you know what? You get a turn again. Go.
Here we go.
Hold on!
Dumbass.
The way he was running with the sword.
Hello, lovelies. You live.
Hold on!
Can't you see I was
Hold on, I'm coming.
You want to use the crows? Lure the wargs in close. They kill faster that way.
You were of the Dunedain.
That's your
Yes, you heard that right.
Oh.
The Dunedain.
So perhaps
The
you may-
Dunedain.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Dunedain.
Finish off the rest of the pack first.
Yes, they make that mistake the entire goddamn game.
When I first read the
Everyone
books, I
says it.
thought it was Dunedain as well.
Nope, Dunedain. Tolkien being the linguist that he is, you know. There's a reason why it's pronounced Dunedain, but like, yeah, it is Dunedain, and I don't know, I just would think that, you know, if you're making something based on the movies, you have the license to the property, you probably should get that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, they keep bringing it up, so like you'll hear Ian McKellen say like 100 times the Dunedain, the Dunedain, the Dunedain. I just keep thinking in the back of my head.
And then
Dine,
and then
dine,
the,
dine, dine, dine.
and then the characters here just keep saying it wrong.
And you know, I think I started to say it, but didn't fully get it out. The reason why they do have like the created movie dialogue, and why we have this weird bunch of like essentially just OCs that we're playing as, is because they did not have the rights to anything but the movie. Tolkien's estate, his son, still owned the rights to everything in the books that was not in the movies.
Oh.
So they were not allowed to use a single thing that was... It either had to be directly from the movies or entirely made up with zero ties to anything from the books.
That you can imagine.
Huh.
And because they already had the hack and slash games based on each individual movie, when they wanted to make an RPG, they were like, let's not just rehash, let's do something different, but we also can't use anything from the books, so that means we've got to just make our own stuff. Yeah. So instead you play as this like ersatz, copy of the Fellowship that is like following on the toes of the Fellowship because
Yeah, you have
Gandalf
you have
is
you have
sending
your
Barathor
humans, your
psychic
elf, and your
messages.
dwarves.
Yeah. And he's just like, Gandalf and Barathor are apparently besties, and so he keeps sending him these messages so he'll follow behind them.
Keep sending him these movie orbs. So
Like,
he
is
can
that
watch
really
the
what-
movie he's in?
Like, whenever Gandalf in the movies or books, like, disappears because he has important business, is it literally just him sitting in a room for 4 hours making a bunch of mental phone calls?
Yeah, he has a lot of people to talk to.
He's, like,
Whether
literally
it's-
just sending
Whether it's
messages
people in this
across
game
Middle-earth.
or like my fanfic characters, like everybody's friends with Gandalf.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Gandalf he has many friends.
So many friends.
He's such a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you see the crossfade, it's just me,
Sure.
going back to save. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to explore every area, but I mean, these areas are small.
Yeah.
There's only really one place in the game where it is kind of a pain to get all the side quests, but I mean, even then, it's so constrained. That's the biggest problem with this game, is that they wanted to make sure that it was accessible to people who were fans of the movies, but they took out too much. And what's weird is like the combat system is here and it works and it's fine and it's fun.
Yeah, it looks perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Exploring the environments, they're kind of dull throughout the whole game. There's just nothing but gray stone and rock and mountains and castles. But they were kind of constrained by the fact that the movies were
Yeah.
kind of grim looking. And the thing is that I feel like they kept all the hard stuff, but all the easy stuff that would have fleshed out the game more, they did get rid of. Like in this game, there's no money.
Oh.
What?
There's no money. There's no shops. Every item you find
so
along
it's
the
like
way.
so it's like Quest 64.
Exactly.
The best game.
the
Yeah.
best. The best
I was actually going to play that on the channel at some point.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I was messing around with it earlier this morning. I was trying to decide. I was trying to find the right cocktail of plugins to make it look good.
Yeah. That's always
Because-
the hardest part of N64 games.
Yeah, because
Plugins
the
and
text will
buggins.
because the text will glitch out if you use pretty much anything but a software plugin. It'll get this ugly pink border.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
And so it's like, do I want to play it in HD and widescreen, but with ugly text, or in like hideous, like literally more hideous than what, like playing it on the physical hardware, because the software plugins just tend to make everything look really fuzzy and pixelated. And you know, in the tiny little 4:3 aspect ratio, it's like it's a hard decision. Of course, I could just not play Quest 64, but who would want to do that?
Yeah, why would you ever do that?
Who would take any excuse to not play Quest 64?
It's obviously not as bad a game as it.
I know.
It's made
but
out to be.
It's a fun game to dunk on.
So
Yeah.
I think I just saw an explanation for what that bar is in the bottom right corner. What is that?
Yeah, so that's, again, just sort of cribbed from Final Fantasy X. It's called the Perfect Mode meter.
Perfect mode.
So once it fills up, you see it's got the ring glowing and spinning around in there. It looks beautiful. It gives you... You can scroll down to Perfect Mode, and it has, like, you know, special moves that are, like, super powerful. But I hardly ever use them because all the members of the party get passive... They have like a bunch of passive skills that they learn, and a lot of them will get a boost while the perfect mode meter is filled.
Oh,
so
it
just
rewards you
don't
for
use-
holding on to it.
Yeah, like Varathor, like he has the best one. His skills cost 25% less to use.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
And
a
later
nice,
on in the game,
nice boost.
where he has like super powerful skills that cost 200 action points. Yeah, having that 50 action point discount is great.
Yeah.
And like Hadad will get a boost to damage while it's filled.
Nice.
Some people get a boost, like a chance to
Oh my
crit.
God.
It's like, yeah. And his voice, he's like, ha.
And he flips his bow all over the place.
The way the bow flipped into the air looked really weird.
Yeah, it looks really funny too when he has like a huge longbow.
I can
And,
imagine, yeah.
and it just spins around like it's nothing.
Man.
Let's just boost that only stat that exists.
Yeah. Yeah, you wait until you see how big that stack is at the end of the game.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it already.
And the other thing that makes it even more broken, as if Idril wasn't broken enough, you will get Elfstones over the course of the game that any character can equip. Every character can equip up to 4 of them. And there's various ones do different things, you know. Like, there's ones that boost your resistances to, you know, all the different kinds of melee damage, all the different kinds of elemental damage, you know. But then there's ones that boost your armor, your action points, your damage, your spirit damage. And it's not just like a +1, it's like an exponential increase. So she'll suddenly go from dealing 4,000 damage to 14,000 when you equip it.
Yikes.
And yeah, because it's like it increases it on some sort of exponent. And I don't think they were expecting people to power game and just put almost all her points in the spirit, because it makes that Elfstone turn her even more overpowered than she was before. And it really isn't until like the final area of the game where anyone is really catching up to her in damage.
I love it. That's great.
Yep.
I love when a game just gives you like one character that is just stupid.
Yeah. And so, like, no offense to all the people in the guides who are like, oh man, Idril's sword skills are so fast. I'm like, yeah, but they do like 1/12 of the damage.
Her sword is so fast that her spells destroy.
Yeah, it's like, why would you ever do anything? What spell?
Why would you ever make her not a mage? Just make her a wizard. Go for it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you see, so there's all the war packs, and whoever's walking around, you can see I can switch between people. They're the ones who get the XP, so.
Oh, okay.
That's
So you
interesting.
sort of, you know, swap people in and out to make sure the XP is getting distributed correctly.
That's
I
an
just
interesting design choice.
Did I read that resistance correctly? It said weak for some, and then stout and very stout.
Yeah, it goes from very weak to very stout.
Very stout. Okay. Not strong.
That's so awkward.
Stout.
Stout.
Yeah, good stout lad, you know?
Yeah, I'm stout with regard to fire damage.
No.
But I'm very weak to fire, but holy crap, I'm so stout against water.
Yeah, I guess.
No. This area looks nice. I actually think this is one of the nicest looking areas in the game. Snow always looks good in video games.
Wow.
Yeah, I like.
Not
well,
always.
I wouldn't say always, but snowy areas are nice.
Well, no, just I mean like when you have a game full of nice looking areas, the snow areas are often the nicest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
First, we must make our way to one of the elves.
This is why I like winter, just generally.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know, like snow
yeah.
is just pretty.
Yeah, the epic scenes I don't give a shit about, but we should pay attention to the cutscenes because man, that dialogue is just. There's just like, so you know, what's up with you? He's like, oh, I'll tell you when we get to one of the elves' healing altars. So
Why not tell me now?
Why not?
Why do we need to
We're
go
walking,
there
doing nothing. Why not just tell me now?
Are we just gonna
I don't
walk in
wanna talk
silence
right now.
awkwardly?
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk right now. I'm just
No,
not in the mood.
I see you have
exactly.
found our campsite.
Oh man, now I'm hungry.
Do you see? He's literally talking to Berthor right now.
Yeah,
need
and
to stop
also
saying it
apparently
regularly.
he's keeping an eye on where Berthor is at all times. Because it's
Yeah,
like,
and he's
I
like,
see
oh,
you
you-
got to our campsite.
Yeah, so they're literally following in the footsteps of the Fellowship.
Yeah, like they're just
We pressed on.
like
The
half a day
southern
behind the
is
whole
some
game.
route for a more dangerous passage over the mountains. But the White
man.
Wizard held other plans, and that route
I
was
find it funny that Berthor never sends a message back. Gandalf is kind of like that guy who just constantly texts you about his day and you just don't give two shits.
this.
You don't give two shit. You never react, yet you keep sending texts.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, so at lunch today, this one lady, she brought in the sandwich and it smelled terrible, but I had no idea what it was. It's like,
I don't care.
great. Gandalf's just
you're
like, oh,
pretty
yeah,
close
so
to
I
an
see
encounter.
you found our campsite. It's like, yep, I sure did, Gandalf.
I love these like stone ogres or trolls,
Yeah,
Stoners.
they're just trolls, yeah.
and they're just like around.
Yeah, the elves love to carve big stone trolls in honor of the beautiful species that is the troll.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta pay the troll toll if you want to get in this boy's hole.
Nice.
If you want to get the boy's soul, yeah.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, enjoy saying. Alright, look at his arrow. Look at his arrow.
Yeah, it's down
Oh,
below.
you're right. It's below. Ah, that's
It's
so.
and he's even
bad.
wearing a proper glove where it's protecting the pad of your hand between your thumb and index finger, you know, where the arrow would be shooting over.
Oh my god.
But instead it shoots from underneath where it would just flop down. You wouldn't even be able to hold it straight.
He has the proper gear, but his form is garbage.
Yeah. I mean, he might as well as like line it up like that and then just take the bow out of the way and just throw the arrow.
He might as well just throw it like a dart. Just
Yeah.
play darts with arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should just throw them with his hand.
I think we actually are coming up on the healing altar here.
Now that would be a fun thing, though.
Elagos
It's like
will
a
actually have to
game-
talk.
But yeah, like would be cool if like a game wherein you have your archer character, but instead of like bow and arrow, it throws the arrows with like proper dart form.
Yeah. Well, in Dungeons of Dreadmore, if you don't have a bow, you can just throw arrows.
Oh, that's cool.
It's awesome.
And in Morrowind, there's a ton
Oh,
of
there's a guy up
weapons.
there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Another reason why would I want to focus on their sword skills when this attack insta-kills and can hit at any range and never misses?
Yeah, because I take it melee attacks cannot reach the guy up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot emphasize enough how dumb it is to... And don't be fooled by Elagos' performance here. He has the lowest damage output in the game.
Oh, okay.
Like, towards the end of the game, he does, like, 1/6 of the damage everyone else does. He's useless.
Oh my God.
And he does have, like, a lot of useful, like, debuffs, I guess, but it's, like... It's not worth it. It is not worth Because like everyone else does more damage, and they also can do debuffs on top of it. So, you know,
So
maybe
why
the
would you-
debuffs
why
aren't
would
as
you need
great.
So why would you need a dedicated debuff character if everybody can do debuffs?
Yeah, and like his debuffs are better, I guess. But I mean, I don't feel like having every battle take 10 times as long waiting for him to kill people.
Yeah, like, you know, at better debuffs, sure, but if they're not, you know, good enough still to, like, make that investment worth it,
Yeah.
then yeah.
I was trying to sort of show off the area there. I love the way the characters get caught up on scenery. It looks so sad, them trying to run, and they're just stuck on everything.
I like that every start of at the start of every fight, just
Alright, let me lower...
Idriel just deletes one enemy.
Yeah. And like I said, Elagos here, you know, shows up and puts in work, but I mean...
that animation is so bad.
Oh my gosh.
A bunch of flipping bow.
Why would anyone flip their bow like that? Like, that's so dumb.
Because they're about to follow it over there.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
would be
he,
really
like,
lame if he just held his bow up and went,
No, actually, that would be better IMO. Like, actually.
I think Idriel's looks really stupid too, but I don't know if we've seen hers yet.
I don't think we've seen it yet.
Hadhod the dwarf. Yeah, his name is Hadhod. I can't get over how bad of a name that is for a dwarf or for anything. Hadhod.
Hadhod. He had a hod.
At least his name's not Havax.
Havax, his gimmick, he has an axe.
Remember Axe Battler from Golden Axe? You know the Sega games, Golden Axe games. The Axe Battler, funnily enough, is not the name of the guy with the axe. It's the dude with the sword.
Oh.
Because of
sense.
those beautiful like English sort of translations.
Excuse me while I delete your friend.
And I start working on his leadership stuff here early because I mean, one of the skills he'll get, he gets War Cry and War Call. I believe that's the order, and it gives the first one gives 2 free actions to 2 allies, and it tends to use their most powerful skills. So when he does that, yes, that's an extra loud Water Fury.
Good.
And War Call, the more advanced version, everyone gets a free skill. So him included
nice.
now. And so that's an
that's
extra
really
loud Water
nice.
Fury and 2 huge melee combos from him and Hadhod. Yeah.
That's cool.
And you know what's even better? When you Frenzy, so you get 2 actions in one turn and you do that
What are
twice.
you doing?
You want to be sure? Some of my
That's a combo.
This.
Not even these sacred places are safe.
He's like, I have to make sure they're dead. They're obviously
Trust
dead.
this one.
I vouch for him. In the name of the Lady of the Galadrim.
What the fuck was that?
That is good enough for me.
And how do I know I can trust you? Where did you get those wounds?
At the hands of a
From an
mongrel
enemy.
whose life I intend to shorten considerably. In the pass of Kahadras, we were attacked by goblins. All but
Kahadras?
the orc.
That's not how you pronounce that
Something
name.
of great value to me.
Kahadras.
Ranger.
I was in the
Yeah,
company
they
of a
get a lot
dwarf,
wrong.
a friend.
His voice actor is actually pretty good though, when he's not going, ha ha.
Take from me.
The one thing he did
Help
wrong.
me slay him, and you shall
He
find
went,
out.
ha.
Also, have you noticed that Elagos always has a sword out?
Yeah.
And who are you to speak
Yeah.
for a ruler of elves?
You must help me return to Lothlorien and warn the Lady Galadriel of these dangers. Then you will know all.
What is
Why does he hang out with
working
these
at?
people?
Yeah,
They're dicks.
everybody's walking and so like hip sway.
In need of healing.
Yeah, like all of them are doing it.
We shall attend
But
to
it's
my
her
matters.
Look at that.
especially.
We should attend to my matters in due course. Like, they both just shit on him. Why does he want to be with them?
You know what?
See, this game falls into that problem where it's like, oh, I don't know how to characterize any of these characters. I don't know how to make them charming, so I'll make them all irritable and unpleasant. That's the secret.
That people like those kinds of characters, right?
No.
Right?
Well, it's just because they don't know how to make them funny and charming. So they're like, what if they bicker? Well, that creates drama. It's like, no, it's just creates a bunch of
It's just
dickheads that we
bickering.
don't want to hang out with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
it just makes
you
us
know-
not want to hang out with these characters.
Because like they just saved this like healing altar, and all of a sudden Elagos is like, how do I know I can trust this guy? It's like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? How do we know we can trust you?
It's an extension of the problem of, like, sometimes people want to write characters that are, like, you know, they're just ribbing on each other. Friendly ribbing is one thing, but, like, for some reason people mistake that for just being total assholes to each other.
Yeah, and like these people don't even know one another. It'd be like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's just such a fucking mess. Anytime there's like a regular cutscene, like I said, these epic scenes are just like nothing.
Yeah. Scenes the movie with a cool voiceover.
Yeah, no offense to McKellen doing the voiceover, but like, you know, if you really want to know what they're saying, mute us and just read it. That's why I put the subtitles on. I mean, every once in a while there's a plot point, which I mean, I should remember where they are, but a lot of them are just stuff like this, like, let me tell you about the Dunedain. Oops, I mean Dunedain. Let me tell you about elves.
So you've got the orbs in the background, and then the circle around this main orb. So is it doing like a little loop-de-loop?
Yeah, it's like a, you know, an impossible circle. It looks like it would be a small circle, but as you keep going around, you know.
Yeah,
but
you
you
get
also
to new
see the
orbs
line
because
in the
there's
back.
109 orbs.
Yeah, and the line in the back is just almost like a progress bar because you'll see it turn all green. Now this right here is just an emulation glitch. That's why you're seeing these vertical bars. I did look it up. It only happens in areas with certain bloom effects, and they're few and far between. Like, you won't see it again until, like, very briefly at one spot towards the end. But there's no way around it. There's literally no way around it. It just happens.
That's fair enough.
But once we get out of this area, it'll stop. Again,
I feel like I'm in jail.
I know, right? It's some bloom effect, and I think emulation is so interesting because it's like, who knows what's going on in the program's mind that it feels the need to do this.
What happened by
Here we go. Here we go.
It was a bewitched fight, voices echoing down from the mountains. Then lightning struck all around us. The dwarf fought like one possessed, but a landslide carried him away. Before he fell, he gave me a map, presented to him by Elrond of Rivendell as a gift of friendship. But I could not withstand the dark powers that ruled the mountain that night. While I lay there burning, that Mordor orc ripped the map away and fled down the mountain.
Asshole.
That
What a
map
dingus.
revealed the location of the secret entrance to a forgotten realm.
I mean, I love Forgotten Realms.
Yes.
Yeah.
The greatest city of the
Moria.
dwarves.
Like, nobody ever remembers them, but they're there.
You know, Wooly from the Best Friends described Idriel's like sort of voice acting perfectly. He's like, it's like, all right, we're gonna cast a 20-year-old, but she's gonna try to sound like she's like really old and wise.
Expect we shall
Yeah.
find
Ah.
him nearby.
You know, or not necessarily like really old, but like, you know, she's gonna try and sound mature.
Right.
You know, like a,
'Cause, you know, elves age slowly.
yeah, because like
whatever
they were.
reason they have
That was
to
when
do
they
it.
played through Star Fox Adventures, and like the queen Triceratops was like clearly voiced by a woman who was like really young, and she was trying to sound very imperious, you know, and adult, and you know maybe late 30s, and so she talked like this, just like
Oh,
Idriel is
God.
talking now,
Oh no.
and it's like, come on,
It's like at that point, maybe cast like an older person
yeah.
who is of the age of the character you're trying to portray.
Yeah, and so Idriel the whole game always talks like this, all the time. Well, because she's trying to sound so, you know, smart and elfy.
I am an elf. I have lived for 100 years. I'm actually still a baby.
Yeah, and it's bad. Oh man, get yourself a feel there, bro.
If I'm track a party and fall behind, should we master the gates of Moria?
This kind of makes me want to go back and play Lego Lord of the Rings again.
Yeah, right. Go back and read the Brick Testament.
Yeah. The Brick Testament.
Yeah, you remember that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
That's the end
The
of
very-
episode 1.
Yeah. So, I just see things are kind of rocky and hard mode at first, but already we're
We're
past
already
it.
ramping up to...
We beat the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once Hadad gets in the party,
That's when That's when the power moves begin.
Yeah, and I'll be able to sort of explain, like, you know, the strategy I was commonly seeing online versus what I did and why I think what I did works a little bit better. And it also makes it where, you can beat the game in 22 hours rather than 40-some. But that'll be all in the next 18 episodes. See you then.